everybody. Happy Saturday. Thanks for dropping in. Alright. I'm gonna try something new for the... Yeah, we'll leave it. No. 60... Alright, yeah, there we go. What am I thinking? I'm overthinking this. Hey everybody. Yeah, so today we're playing, well, we're gonna be using the analog, pocket here. We're playing, Tetris Attack, which is, what we played as our second game last stream. We started with Tetris, moved on to Tetris Attack, and then we're moving on to Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, which is a game I wanted back in the day, but never actually got, never added it to my collection until, fairly recently. And I never really sat down and played it. Now, I'm familiar with this game from playing it on the 3DS Virtual Console a lot. It was probably one of my top 5 played games, I'm sure, on that system. Now I finally have the cartridge, and we'll be playing it later. So, these two games represent the entirety of the 8-bit legacy of the sort of Panel de Pon or Puzzle League series. So, let's get started. We'll just, drop this right into the dock. I'm, playing with the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller because the 8-bit Do gamepad, stopped working good. I never really heard anything bad about the build quality or any reputation of, those games, of the, those controllers having bad build quality, but, I found out in stream that apparently they have a reputation for the D-pad messing up in a certain way. And, because of that, it was a real Hail Mary. I just plugged in the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller because it has a USB-C port, and that's what the, analog dock, runs. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just plug this in, see if it works, and if not, I'll have to figure something else out, but it actually just worked. Instantly. And I was like, okay, I was not expecting that. We'll start chill. We'll get warmed up with a run through easy mode. Yeah, so we're gonna just start nice and simple. I have not played this. Well, I mean, it's not a secret, though. Let's see. What can I pull off here? Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I don't think I could have set that off without triggering another, combo that, would have lost me the big one that I was going for. I started the last stream with Tetris, and I think Puzzle League is a better puzzle game series than Tetris, but, like, I like any version of Puzzle League better than any version of Tetris. Now, Tetris, I have so many fond memories of. I love it. It's a great game. The Nintendo published and developed DS version of Tetris, Tetris DS, is probably the best version of that game I've played, at least the best handheld version for sure. I also have memories playing Tetris on Apple II and on DOS systems on the library, the public library back in the 90s. So I'm not hating on Tetris by saying this, but I do think Puzzle League is the better puzzle game. Just something about the flow of... Well, the fact that... The flow of it, the way you make matches and recognize matches, I feel, is... It makes for better two-player combat, which I think is why they might have decided to call this Tetris game Tetris Attack in North America, which is a decision that the Tetris company and Nintendo themselves now regret, because they can't publish any of these games anymore on any virtual console or any similar type of re-release scheme, because Nintendo, well, the Trip Hawkins at the time was talking to his partner within the Tetris company, like, why should we give Nintendo the license to use the Tetris branding for this game? It's not a Tetris game. They're like, yeah, but we could use the money. So he sort of acquiesced and let it happen. Neither the Tetris company nor Nintendo would want to have to bother working out the licensing to use the Tetris brand to rebrand these. Now, this game was actually developed specifically to coincide with the North American release of Tetris Attack, because this game series started as Panel de Pon in Japan, which was a unique game that had these sort of magical girl fairy characters and sort of cutesy fairy motifs. and I guess Nintendo decided that that wasn't really marketable in the West, so they had Intelligent Systems reskin the game with motifs from the then recently released Yoshi's Island game. You know, using a lot of the characters and enemies and music from those games. Well, one of the remixes of which you're hearing right now. And I guess after they finished taking out all the fairy magical girl motifs and putting in the Yoshi's Island references, I guess Nintendo of America's marketing decided that even Yoshi's Island was far too cutesy to have this game reach mainstream appeal. And so that's speculation on my part, because in spite of going through all the trouble to rebrand Panel de Pon into Yoshi's Island, I mean into a Tetris Yoshi's Island themed puzzle game, the marketing and the advertising material, including the box art you see right here, makes no reference whatsoever to any of the Yoshi or Yoshi's Island characters, which makes me feel, my theory is that, okay, they swapped out the fairy girl things motifs for Yoshi's Island theming because they thought the fairy girl things were too weren't marketable to boys or to older adults, maybe, like the adult professional business people who were a major part of Nintendo's early business with the Game Boy, using it to play puzzle games and casual games during commutes and Amtrak rides, commuter rail rides, plane trips. You know, sitting around in a airline waiting room at an airport, like in an airport terminal. I guess is the phrase I was looking for. Wow, I cleared the board. It's always satisfying to clear out that board entirely. And so they got rid of all that and replaced it with the Tetris Attack theming, with emphasis on those fierce-looking, teeth-gritting garbage blocks. And so when I didn't play Tetris Attack till like 2004 or something like that on Super Nintendo. And when I did, I was shocked, because I had no idea until I actually booted up the game that this game had anything to do with Yoshi or Yoshi's Island. And I just thought it was just sort of a generic, sort of unthemed Tetris variant. And it was until I saw the Yoshi's... I knew I had played... Actually, the first game in the series I played was Pokemon Puzzle League on N64, which I rented on N64, really just because it was Pokemon themed. You know, it was the height of Pokemania. It was like 99 or 2000. I really just rented it from Blockbuster because it was Pokemon themed, and I ended up having a Pokemon themed game, and it was a great game as well. And it was one of those casual games that my mom and my dad really loved. Well, my dad was he was that. I mean, he really is just a flat out a gamer. My father, even back then. So he'd play a lot of Star Fox 64, GoldenEye, Abe's Odyssey on PlayStation, and he didn't get into like Zelda until like the GameCube era, like the Wii era. But me, my dad, my mom, and my brother, we'd all play this game together. Well, not this game. We'd play Pokemon Puzzle League together because I was and so we ended up buying Pokemon Puzzle League back then. And it was not often that we actually purchased a Nintendo 64 game or any game in general. It was something reserved for Christmas and birthday only. It was kind of a big deal whenever it happened. So you had to make a careful choice what you wanted your game for the year to be, right? Which was a common experience. It wasn't common for people to have huge libraries of games for their current gen systems while they were still on the market. And so when a few years later, well, it felt like a lifetime later, but a few years later, like 2000, I don't know, I was in high school, I think, at that point. It was sometime in the early 2000s. I played Tetris Attack, and I was like, okay, I knew Pokemon Puzzle League was a reskin of Tetris Attack. I didn't know what Panel de Pon was at the time. And I was like, okay, so this is... I knew Pokemon Puzzle League was a reskin of Tetris Attack. But then when I played Tetris Attack, I was like, okay, this is a Yoshi's Island-themed game? I was not aware of that, because I just thought it was just, an unthemed Tetris variant. And So yeah, that's my theory of how they ended up going with this box art that has nothing to do with Yoshi or gives any indication of Yoshi's presence in the game. Yet he's clearly, like, unmistakable in the game. Now, they made... So, Panel de Pon came out for the Super Famicom. They reskinned this into Tetris Attack with Yoshi's Island characters, and released in the US, in North America, and Europe, I think, as Tetris Attack for Super Nintendo. Then, I guess Nintendo commissioned Intelligent Systems to make a Game Boy version of Tetris Attack. Not a Game Boy version of Panel de Pon, but a Game Boy version of Tetris Attack specifically. And I'm sure Nintendo's logic was, because puzzle games and casual games were such a big hit with that more mature, that older age range of casual gamers. Because people think of older, like, people, in their, middle-aged, people over the age of 25, over the age of 30, like this sort of professional, non-gaming, ultra-casual types, as being something Nintendo really didn't push for in the DS era. But you really, with the early lifespan of the Game Boy, if you look at a lot of Nintendo's advertising, they were really pushing this system towards those older adult professionals who had, time to kill in airline terminals, or on commutes, on trains or buses. And I think we watched a video a couple of times on this stream that basically describing where it was a training video for Nintendo sales representatives. And they were saying that more than half of the Game Boy, the players of the Game Boy, those Game Boy customers were adults. They didn't say over the age of 18, but they just said more than half of them were adults. And then the market kind of shifted a bit, I guess. I don't know exactly how or why, I guess. But by the time around like 2004, I remember at Nintendo's E3 2004 media briefing, Nintendo cited some NPD sales numbers, so some third-party sales numbers, highlighting that more than a third of Game Boy Advance owners between Game Boy Advance and the then fairly recently released Game Boy Advance SP were over the age of 18. And I remember that making waves, because I know one of the arguments at the time, because there was the PSP was sort of looming on the horizon, and the thought among many was like, oh, well, the Game Boy line is, a kids only thing, and PSP is going to be for older players. And so for Nintendo to be able to point out that more than a third of the Game Boy Advance owners were over 18 was kind of a shock. But even at the time, I thought that was kind of ironic, given that I was aware of how much of that early marketing, and especially on television to an extent, but especially in print ads, with sort of the ads featuring, older, 30 and up business people, dressed in business casual attire, in airline terminals, or in waiting rooms and the like, playing games like Tetris, Dr. Mario, some of those simpler casual early generation Game Boy sports titles, like Golf, for instance. So it's like, yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't a higher percentage of adult players by then. And then the DS, two things kind of happened at once. The Game Boy, a lot of the people who grew up with Game Boy as kids you got that, it seemed like there was a period where, up until like maybe the early 90s, where most people grew up playing games and then they stopped as they grew older, and it was just kind of somehow became this thing that was just you were expected to grow out of, and that's still a major thing now, which is kind of bizarre given that video games are now bringing in more revenue than Hollywood, and it's a super mainstream thing, but yet there's still the stigma of it being like a children's only activity. Oh, don't mention it. People won't take you seriously, or they'll think you're antisocial or something like that. And even though that's a complete misunderstanding of what antisocial even means, but that's a whole other story. But what I was getting at is, you were getting, I guess, around people born in, I say that late 80s, early 90s, you got into that range where a larger percentage of people that grew up playing games weren't growing out of it. They were growing up and continuing to play games just as you grew up watching television, you watch television as an adult, you watch movies as a kid, you watch movies as an adult, and it became this larger demographic that grew up playing games, and they continued playing games. You know, so between that certain age range where they grew up with video games as just a normal thing and not this sort of aberration or novelty, and continued playing games as they grew older, you know, so yeah, those people playing Game Boy Advance, you know, and pushing that age range, you know, of that demographic of users on Game Boy Advance up higher. And then around the time of the DS launch, you also have this big casual push from Nintendo. I gotta give them credit. They really noticed at exactly the right time what was happening, and they noticed there's this market for people who there's this untapped market of people who could be playing video games and might be interested in video games, but the hardware isn't appealing, and the software selections aren't as... Games aren't being made and marketed for them, and gaming in general was... The nature of the games was becoming more and more complex. So we have the DS now, where having the touchscreen and an age before smartphones where... Hold on, I'm talking too much. You do. That's more like it. So you have all these people that maybe were intimidated by the increasingly complex controllers. You started with 2 buttons and a D-pad on the Game Boy. And now you have you have 4 buttons and 2 shoulder buttons, or you might have 4 shoulder buttons and bumpers and a D-pad and an analog stick, and it's like, okay, by adding this touch panel, we could make the interface a lot simpler as the games become more complex. And I think the thing I don't hear people talk about a lot with the DS, and this is something I remember on the old SpyMac forums. SpyMac was kind of a social media site for Mac users. It wasn't just a forum. It was basically a social media site for Mac users before the concept of social media became a thing. This is like before Facebook even blew up. I remember just being on, and it wasn't just a forum. It was a unique thing. It wasn't quite a forum. It wasn't quite a bulletin board. It was kind of really a forerunner to social media before social media became a thing. And back when Mac users, people who were fans or users of Mac computers, were kind of a niche subculture. I remember there was an emphasis on photo sharing on SpyMac, and there was this one incident, I remember this one thread, where 3 or 4 people who had power books with them all met, just by sheer chance, met each other in an airline terminal, and they all took a picture together with their MacBooks. And this is pre-digital, this is when digital cameras are, cell phones are still basically candy bar cell phones. If you had a smartphone, it meant you had a Palm Pilot type touchscreen device with a telephone keypad on it and an extending antenna. You know, so it's before modern, having a camera everywhere you went. So it's like, wow, 4 Mac users with Mac laptops found each other in public by sheer chance and took a picture together. This is before even by 2006, the world had changed so much. It just seemed like wow, I'm actually seeing several people in a college classroom together with me who happen to have Macs. It was kind of a big deal. But the point of all that was, I remember on the SpyMac forums, or I guess you could call them, they were more partial to the PSP. It looked like a higher end of this around E3 2004 time. So it looked like a more high-tech device, a more powerful device, a more tech-savvy device, something that looked, admittedly, especially compared to not even the original, what we now call the DS Fat, but that original prototype Nintendo DS model. They took that, and you compare it to the PSP, especially with those promotional photos Sony was putting out at the time, with, really beautiful well-dressed, 20-something models, male and female, all just walking around looking all chic and cool with their PSPs, using it as basically the Walkman of the future, because Sony was really trying to position the PSP to be what the iPhone and what the iPod Touch would eventually become, but in a world where people were still like Discman, like portable CD players and even portable cassette players were still in common use in 2004. And MP3 players were kind of on the cutting edge, but still this kind of niche thing. I was the only kid, and this was very early 2000s, being the only kid in high school that I ever saw use an iPod. I had an iPod in high school, and I got made fun of for it. I remember people telling me, like, why would you carry around a nerdy little gadget when you could just get a Walkman like everyone else? Like, they did not understand the appeal of it. It's like, oh, what is that, a Game Boy, you nerd? Like, and this is, so this is still like early 2000s. So the point is, most of the people on the SpyMac forums were partial to the PSP, thought the DS didn't have a chance, it's going to be the next Virtual Boy, Nintendo's wasting their time, what are they going to do, what are they thinking, who wants a touchscreen, people on an Apple forum saying, like, who wants a touchscreen, that's so gimmicky and useless, and this is iPod. The iPod wasn't even in color. I think the only iPod models out in 2004 were like the original iPod, the second generation of the OG iPod, and the iPod Mini at that point. So yeah, like the iPod wasn't even in color at that stage. And I was like, the argument was, what's the point of having two screens? And I was just pointing out, like, the touch screen is it's a screen where you can display images and information, but it's also an input device. By having one screen that can be dedicated to output, and then have the touchscreen be dedicated fully to input, that's something that just having a single large screen, even if it's a touchscreen, can't really do in the same way. And this is before multi-touch, which changed things up a little bit, but even in the post-multi-touch world, there's still some niche devices that may have multiple screens on them. And I know people look back on, I remember people describing even during the 3DS's lifespan, even people who had 3DS saying, oh, it's a bad touchscreen, it's unresponsive, it's not. And it's like the touchscreen on the 3DS is not responsive. The touchscreen on the Wii U, I remember people saying, oh, the Wii U, it has a bad touchscreen because it has a resistive touchscreen, and, it's not like the screen on your phone, which is more, I guess, more responsive. But that's just a misunderstanding of what those touchscreens are. It's using resistive technology where it's based on your actual physical touch and not responding to the sort of the capacitive sort of effect of your body current of your finger touching the screen. That doesn't mean it's worse technology. It's capacitive. I think most actual drawing tablets use resistive touch technology. I remember on Attack of the Show on G4, when it was, a cable network and not the mess that it is now, trying to do whatever they're doing on Twitch and YouTube. They were doing a breakdown of the Wii U and the gamepad, and they're saying, oh, it's a bad touchscreen. It's a resistive touchscreen, which means it's like those touchscreens on the ATM machines, and it's like that you have to smash really hard. I'm like, do you realize that those ATM touchscreens are actually just bad capacitive touchscreens and not good, like bad resistive touchscreens? Like, people, just in the context of being used to how touchscreens work on modern smartphones and tablets, just sort of think of the DS and Wii U touchscreens as being bad, when it's just like, no, it just works different. For most things that aren't precision-based, precision-based things require a stylus. That's how it's supposed to be used. Now, there's some games like the Pokemon games, for instance, that just have a large on-screen button that, like, yeah, that's something I've used my thumb on. That's meant to use your thumb on, and I think it's a really good result on that. But man, we've been streaming for almost a half hour, and I've been playing for yeah, for 22 minutes already. I mean, this is just supposed to be a warm-up, but we're tearing it up so far. Can I break? I wonder what's the longest I could... If I could last for 30 minutes, that would be interesting. I mean, when you get to... Hold on. I do forget I can pause. I like how it says continue and cancel game instead of continue and quit. That's interesting. Now, hold on a second. I just want to make sure I'm not dropping any frames. No. We're good. We're good. What am I thinking? Alright. So... yeah, I'm really just going for sort of the single. I'm not going for anything super ambitious with these moves. I'm just sort of clearing it as we go. I cleared the board out. I was up pretty far before, but we could build a 4 combo there. So we go. Okay. Oh, I didn't plan to do that. Yeah, I had a combo there, but I just sort of got distracted by all the other matches that they were to make, and ended up demolishing. Oh shucks! If I made the wrong move. If I was 1 over and made that same flip, I could have gotten a combo there. Another important thing about combos is, I mean, in multiplayer, combos drop garbage blocks on your opponent, which is how you win. Which I think. It just makes this a lot more, I mean, especially compared to, like, the only version of Tetris I ever played multiplayer was the OG Game Boy version of Tetris, which I don't think has any sort of garbage block system, if I remember correctly. But something about just the way combos work in this makes it a much more combative game in multiplayer. Now, I need to get more combos, because making matches obviously clears the blocks from the board. Darn, I made that move too quickly. Yeah, making combos clears blocks from the board, but for long-term survival, in single-player mode, making these match 4s, match 5s, building and setting off chains becomes really important, because the more setting off combos and chains stops the flow of blocks onto the playfield, which is something that you could use to clear out the board and survive for longer. So I've got 3 triangles here. No, I tried to be clever, but it didn't really work out. Okay. Yeah, oh, wait, no, I could build a match 4 there. Now I could do something. Let's see what I can do with these hearts. Move this here. Oh, well, the heart I was going to use got cleared off by the block that was entering the playfield, which does count as a match and as a combo. Ah, shucks. Now if I can... Yep, here's a match 5. Match 3. Match these stars up. Hey, Reliet, how you doing? I hope you're having the Saturday you were hoping for. If you wanted to chill, I hope you got to chill. If you wanted to be productive, I hope that happened. And, yep, so we're starting off with Tetris Attack. We're moving on to Pokemon Puzzle Challenge after this, but, yeah, we got a match 5 here, which gives us a nice clock stop for another match 4. You gonna go see Sonic 2 today? Yeah, yeah, I guess I gotta go see Sonic 2 soon. Yeah, I'll go see it soon. Maybe I'll go see Batman first. Or, The Batman. I have to throw that that definitive article in there. You don't want to confuse with those other Batmans who run around with shotguns wearing hockey pads. Now, we could do a match 4 with these diamonds, which is something I really need to survive. Yes! Yes! Yeah, that was nice. That was a nice one. Hey, Collector Boy, happy Saturday to you, too. Yeah, I heard it was long, which, I don't know, it's like having a totally freelance schedule outside of, like, making, phone call appointments or Zoom appointments or anything like that with, clients. It's like, it's not as, it adds a lot of potential free time, but you're under so much pressure to, you're under so much pressure to be responsible and be as productive as possible, because if you get lazy, it really falls apart fast, which I haven't let happen, and I'm mortally terrified to let happen, so, so planning, like, okay, I'm gonna be at a theater to 4 hours, or whatever. Yeah, I heard it was a bit on the long side, and then in addition to that, the moment at which it came out, there was enough going on in real life that, that some of the stuff that may or may not be in that movie wasn't exactly what I wanted to be occupying my attention with. Yeah, I do want to see it in theaters, though. And a little time is, passed that I'm not being bombarded with, outside stuff. So I'll go see Batman, and then I'll see, Sonic 2. You want to see Sonic 2 as well? Yeah. Yeah, that's, no, oh my gosh. I'm choking. We can't, I'm panicking. We can't let, you cannot panic in this game. I mean, I want to make it, come on, please, come on game, let me, I'm saying the game like it's the game doing it, but, I gotta make it, I'm only a few seconds away from making it to exactly 30 minutes. I gotta survive for 30 more minutes. Got that match 4 in there. I got it, 20 more seconds. Can I make it? Yeah, I heard it's darker than the Christopher Nolan trilogy, but it has that surrealism, a bit of that surrealism from the Tim Burton films. So that definitely sounds interesting, and they're going more into the sort of the detective crime-solving aspect of it, which is something I always wanted them to explore eventually. So, yeah, I'll definitely be... I'll probably see it next week at some point. We'll see what happens. Next week or the week after. Yeah, and probably next week. I don't know how long it'll be in theaters, but I definitely don't want to miss it. I don't want to, give in to the FOMO, but that is something I would like to see in theaters. I don't know if I could, scrounge together some pals to, There we go. Okay, this is brutal because there are just not a lot of matches for me to make. Okay, wow, I'm doing... Oh, man, I'm tearing it up. I'm having a good time with this. Yeah, no, when Super Nintendo Land, opens... Oh, that's it. So 30... Yeah, so when, Super Nintendo World opens, yeah, I'll definitely, be checking out. I know the West Coast one is opening up first. If an East Coast one is coming out, I'll probably sooner go to the East Coast one, just because it's also near Disney, and there's, like, even Super Nintendo World is, like, very... Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the West Coast one is near Disney stuff, too. But I just, no, the thing is, I'm not saying Disneyland's inferior. It's just that I'm a huge nerd and loved Epcot to death when I went back in 1998. And I want to go back to Epcot and see how they've ruined everything with their branding and tie-ins. But I'm being a little cynical there. Alright, so we... more than a half hour. But let's, yeah, so versus com. This is the story mode. I don't have the password from last time ready, so let's actually... Wait. Continue. Wait a second, hold on. I'm a little confused. Oh, you could skip this. No, I don't want to go... You know, I've seen so many... Back in, like, the mid-2000s, I used to watch... When I actually watched television... there was so many on, like, the Science Channel and Discovery. There'd be so many, I guess, shows about Disney World that I now realize are just, like, okay, this is just flat out a commercial for Disney. And really shamelessly so, but, they were talking about how they built and, executed Soarin', which... Did they turn Soarin' into, like, an Avatar-themed ride or something like that? Let's see. Versus com. New game. Let's go with normal mode. Howdy there. Let's skip the... They didn't? Okay, good. Or, I guess they... Okay, there was some, like, flight-themed... Oh, they added an... Yeah, there... Yeah, there's some, someone on YouTube, I forgot their name, but they did like a 40 or 50 minute long just talking to a webcam breakdown of why, like, the Pandora world in, and Disney's Animal Kingdom was just really creepy and not that much fun, and that there seems something... their description... I think the video is called "Why Pandora at Disney's Animal Kingdom feels ghoulishly wrong," and it was very interesting. I think those sequels might be part of some kind of investment scam or something. I don't know. Man, I got torn up! Yeah, I haven't been to Disney since '98, and I was at Disney's Animal Kingdom a month after it came out, so it was... It literally had new park smell. Like, everything smelled like newly unwrapped, like, plastic merchandise. Because all the stuff was brand new. The paint had barely dried. And so it was a brand new park, yet it was, I guess, like, the initial hype wore down. It wasn't full of people more so than other parks. It wasn't like everyone was going crazy there trying to, you know, check it out. So it was interesting. I remember going back, when I got back from Disney World, I was telling I guess the teacher told me to tell the class about where I'd been, because I'd been gone for like a week when we went to Disney World, because I was still in, you know, in school then. And, man, whew! You know, in 97, in 2015, and in 2020. That Kingdom was so overpacked. Epcot was your favorite aspect because you feel more relaxed there? Yeah, I liked Epcot a lot. I love the whole history of how it was supposed to be, like, a prototype for a technocratic, like, future society that never materialized, because... Uh-oh. Okay. Reliet redeemed the Sodor lore reading, so we're gonna have to hop over. Okay. Okay, my stream deck is... Okay, at some point I must have changed the name of Sodor lore reading, the redemption for it. So we're gonna... What are we learning about today? We're still learning a bit... and sort of sideways, we're learning about both about kind of the Arlesdale Railway as well as the Mid-Sodor Railway, I think, because the two histories of those two railways on the island of Sodor overlap to the point. I mean, and when I say overlap, I mean the track bed. Well, the Mid-Sodor Railway closed, and then they built the Arlesdale Railway decades later on top of the part of the former route of the Mid-Sodor. So we'll get into that later. So in 1964, Sir Topham Hatt was concerned about the congestion at Tidmouth Harbor and Knapford Harbor. He took interest in Arlesburg Harbor, a port connected by rail to the Northwestern Railway, but which had been infrequently used following the closure of the Mid-Sodor Railway in 1947. He made several visits of inspection and decided that Arlesburg and the rail extension to it were capable of development. He noted also that while his line, which had been under minimum maintenance, was heavily overgrown, that the defunct Mid-Sodor Railway was comparatively weed-free. On inquiry, he was told that the Mid-Sodor Railway had, from motives of economy, used spoil from the lead mines as ballast, material which they could take and use merely for the asking. Once exhaustive tests had proved that this spoil was really weed-resistant, Sir Topham had suggested that the management of the Culdee-Fell and Skarloey railways, that they join the Northwestern Railway in consortium to export it, and that a railway along the Mid-Sodor's former trackbed could be laid to take it away. At this point in the negotiation, Walter Richards, manager of the Culdee-Fell Railway, proposed that, bearing in mind the scenic attractions of the valley, the basis of the company be broadened to encourage investment from those engaged in the tourist industry. This proposal, seconded by Sir Handel Lloyd Brown, was unanimously carried out and met with good response. So that is our Sodor lore reading for overlapping history between the Mid-Sodor Railway and the Arlesburg Railway. And yes, that is actual lore from the Thomas the Tank Engine universe. I did not make that up. Yeah, because my favorite thing about the Sodor lore reading is in the past people have redeemed that, expecting to hear me tell cutesy stories about talking trains, and instead I just read off some extremely realistic sounding railway history, which often ties in with real-world railroading history on the British Islands. The British Isles, I guess. I never hear anyone call them the British Islands, but just the British Isles, specifically. Alright. So, how about we make we need to make a match of 3 or more touching those garbage blocks to convert them into legitimate blocks. That we can then, Oh yeah, I you know, it's funny, I just watched, Unlucky Tug's, Season 2, retrospective yesterday. You are not going to lose this time again. You know, it's funny, Unlucky Tug, I'm not trying to flex, Unlucky Tug is the only person, aside from me, the only American I'm aware of who has actually went to the UK specifically to visit the Bluebell Railway. Yeah, and then, well, you know, it's funny, I'm surprised Unlucky Tug didn't mention this. He talks about how, they didn't, adapt a drip tank into an episode for Season 2, even though it was that book was specifically commissioned to have more Thomas stories. And apparently, I don't know if this was at the time, but I know more recently, Christopher Audrey said that he did not, apparently like a drip is like I guess a slang term, and I guess a British specific slang term for like a sort of like it's like a wet, calling someone a wet towel. That's a bit outmoded in itself, but if you say, oh, he's such a wet towel, you kind of know what you mean. I guess calling someone a drip had the same effect, but even in the mid to late 80s, that colloquialism, calling someone a drip, was very outmoded. Kids these days weren't using that term, and Christopher Audrey was not aware of that. And he said something to the effect of, if I wasn't aware what an obsolete sort of insult that was, I wouldn't have written an entire story around it. Well, a missing coach, like when I was reading around like 99, no, it was like 98 or 99, when I was reading the Railway series stories, I remember being confused by the missing coach. I was interested in the idea that, oh, there was a coach that they took off of Gordon's train and put onto Thomas's. I was interested in all that. But the specific idea that why are Donald and Douglas swapping tenders to try to avoid getting in trouble? Because the point is, one of those two engines got in trouble, and by swapping tenders, yes, the original engine who made the mistake with the coach isn't going to get in trouble, but the other engine's going to get in trouble instead. The idea that I understood that there were two engines that came, Sir Topham Hatt ordered one engine from Scotland. Two came instead, and he planned to send the other one back. I understood that much. I didn't understand the idea that, I guess the logic of the missing coach and the tender swap was Sir Topham Hatt wants to send one of the two engines home. One of those, the engine, I forgot whether Donald or Douglas was the engine that made the blunder with shunting the coach into the siding with the passenger still on it. I guess the idea was that one of those, between Donald and Douglas, one of them, no, it was Douglas. Yeah, Douglas made the mistake with the coach, yeah. Like, Donald was supposed to be there, Douglas snuck onto Sodor. So, by having Donald and Douglas switch tenders, Douglas would get in trouble, no, Donald would get in trouble instead of Douglas. So each engine would have a strike against them. Each engine would be equally, like, in the doghouse with Sir Topham Hatt. So that between the two of them, one in particular wouldn't have more of a chance of getting sent back to Scotland. That is the purpose of the tender swap. And I'm like, that is, like, yeah, that, I did not understand that. I mean, I was kind of overage for Thomas at the time I was reading the Railway series, to be frank, but even as, like, being in my early teens when I was first reading these stories, I was like, what is the point of swapping tenders? I was very confused by that. We're not doing good. So I didn't say this anywhere, but I remember when Nick Starwind was doing his now kind of infamous series of videos covering the search for the missing coach and, what happens to the lost footage and all that, and which other episodes of season 2 were some of the footage from Missing Coach recycled into, and there was this theory that and Better Late Than Never, and a couple of other season 2 episodes, there's this shot of this yard sighting, and there's a stray, like, blood and custard passenger coach that's just sitting there, like, just randomly amongst a bunch of freight cars. And there's this theory that coach was there because it was intended to be the coach used for the missing coach, like the transfer coach that got moved from Gordon's Express onto Thomas's branch line train. And I was like, I never thought that coach was out of place. I thought that coach was just there, just sort of in the chaos of a train yard and putting unneeded stock where there was space for it and not in the way. And to sort of assume just because that was the missing coach from the Missing Coach episode, just because it happened to be there and during a time when they might have been using that set for filming other scenes from the Missing Coach. I thought that was kind of I couldn't prove that was incorrect, but it just seemed like a kind of a weird assumption to make out of, I guess, an excessive interest in trying to find find footage from the Missing Coach in other episodes. And it turned out that was verifiably not the Missing Coach, because the Missing Coach turned out to be one of the forward-wheeled Stroudley coaches, like Annie and Clarabelle, which is actually kind of odd that they put a four-wheeled Stroudley coach on one of Gordon's express train, which is, you know, a train of bogey coaches. Alright, we need to... Oh, I'm getting bamboozled, and it's not fun. Okay. Okay, first off, we need to we have to score a match. Okay, this is just normal mode, and I can't beat the first stage? Come on. This game does not mess around. Do not let the Yoshi's Island aesthetic... let me take a look at this, what Relia in chat. I keep forgetting that I could pause in this. Because one of the earlier games I streamed was Nintendo vs. Pinball, where you cannot pause during the high score mode. I just forget I could just pause the game. And they brought back the Thomas Wooden Railway and discontinued much lesser quality wood line. They're getting a Knapford station set compared to the 90s release. They're doing Tinless Sheds, Brandom Docks, Knapford, and Figure 8. Now, I find that kind of... I'm fascinated by the idea that they're putting as much effort into the wooden railway stuff as they are, because I admit I have not sat through... I have not watched any of All Engines Go, aside from some of the pre-release material. Not again. Not like this. Okay. Yeah, I have not watched any pre-release... I watched a little bit of the pre-release material for All Engines Go, and that's it. So the idea that they're putting... From what All Engines Go looks like, I have a hard time believing that there's any sort of consistency or carry-through or significant world building. So the fact that there's that much world building in the wood, like actual location names and track layout, ability to recreate track layouts of specific locations and stuff in the wooden railway is kind of interesting. And I remember when because anything related to current Thomas or the Thomas fandom is stuff basically because I like real, like, British, like, stuff, like, UK Preservation Railroads stuff on Twitter, and reblog it sometimes. There's a lot of overlap between that community and the Thomas and Friends community, so I get recommended Thomas stuff because of that. And so I overhear mostly weird Thomas fandom drama stuff, or news about modern Thomas, and I do not try to follow it or really care much about it. But when I saw images of Bulstrode the Barge in All Engines Go, I thought it was like a fan art of what Bulstrode would look like in All Engines Go. I was so shocked that Bulstrode is actually apparently a major recurring character in All Engines Go that I'm like, really, after like 30 years, you're gonna bring back Bulstrode the Barge, who appeared in one episode in Season 4, based on one story from Toby Trucks and Trouble, the Christopher Audrey book. Oh my gosh, that one mistake is gonna cost me the match. Yep, that one mistake. Yeah, Bulstrode was repurposed into... Well, he was just left abandoned on the beach for children to play on. Which I don't think is something that would fly these days. It's like, oh yeah, here's some abandoned industrial equipment, kids. And that's decrepit and rusting and rotting with rotting wood and rusty nails and broken glass that was involved in a crash. Have fun, kiddies. Oh, but Fisher-Price rebranded Wooden Railway to just Thomas Wood. Now that's amusing. Yeah, Thomas Wood. That is interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how good Thomas and Friends All Engines Go is doing, but I know, like, when they first started airing it, there were a lot of, like, mainstream news articles, like, new version of Thomas horrifies children and their parents. So I'm like, okay, it's not just, you know, like, overage dorks online that are upset about this. It's like, Mattel, if you want to sell toy trains, if you want Thomas and Friends to be the brand that you bought it for, if you want it to be as successful as it was in the 90s and I guess early 2000s, I already clocked out by that point, you need to actually have the courage to make a show about trains. You see, the best way to make a show, if you want kids to buy toy trains, then you need to make a show about trains, not a show about arbitrary train-shaped creatures that you could make that a show about talking dogs. You can make it a show about talking flowers. You can make that Thomas and Friends All Engines Go be about anything. But you just happen to arbitrarily make it about trains. The early seasons of Thomas, even into like the hit era, from what little I've seen of that, they're mostly stories that only make sense if those characters are trains and the locations are industrial facilities like clay pits and slate mines and harbors. And I mean, even they made it more and more kiddie, where it's like, oh, we're gonna have a episode where Thomas takes a train to the chocolate factory or whatever other nonsense they came up with. You need to make a show about trains, and Mattel seems horrified at the notion of doing that. And you cannot have success with a show about trains and steam engines when based on beloved classic characters, when you're ashamed of the source material, which is trains and railroading and steam locomotives. You're ashamed of the source material and the original characters. How are you going to have success? And I'm not talking about making this appeal to me. I'm talking about making it appeal to kids. Because you may get modern kids' attention. You may be able to make them shut up for a half hour or 15 minutes or however long these episodes are. But you're not... The kids who grew up with Thomas in the 80s and 90s, a lot of them are now adult railroad enthusiasts for life that still are interested in Thomas. The kids who might like Thomas today, based on the material they're putting out, are not going to grow up loving trains and steam locomotives. And that's the difference. Well, I love, Aurelia, like the season 4 models of, the narrow gauge models for Rusty... they even, sort of cutesied up Rusty a lot with, they decided to make them orange and have, instead of just being black like in the Railway series, their name's Rusty, so let's make them orange. Let's make them orange, a sort of Rusty sort of color. I liked it as a kid. I don't begrudge them for that, but it's like, but even with the orange, more toy-like, arguably, paint job, they still made it Rusty's model grimy and have actual rust, oil stains coming from the vents. I mean, the narrow gauge, the model for Peter Sam, for instance, looks more grimy and used and weathered and industrial in the models for the television series than the actual real life Edward Thomas locomotive does on the Talaklind Railway. the imaginary, the live action model for filming the show for little kids looks more grimy and weathered and industrial than the real life locomotive that it based it off of. And I love that. Because the real life Edward Thomas on number 4 Edward Thomas on the Talaklind looked pretty much in showroom condition in its preserved state. I feel like the non-Skarloey Railway Season 4 episodes were too clean. Honestly, even in Season 5, not realizing that they switched mostly to filming with larger models for the models to work better. Even not realizing that those models were physically larger, for the most part, there are some shots where they'd still use the original small-scale narrow gauge models. But I remember looking at those episodes and being like, something feels off about this. Like, something feels weird about their faces, is what I noticed. Like, I didn't notice that, yeah, when you go from the small-scale Rusty model to the large-scale Musty model, the faces are literally different sizes in relation to the rest of the locomotive. Okay. Well, thanks for sparing us those details, Reliet. Much appreciated. Yeah, it's funny, the way the VHS releases came out, they released, or I think they either released for Season 4, the first Season 4 tape to come out in the US was Rusty the Rescue. Then the next tape that came out, if I remember correctly, either the next tape to come out or at least the next one I got. I'm very sure it's the next one that came out, because I wasn't big on, like, Thomas was the only, like, media series where I kept up with, oh, a new tape's coming out, I need it, order it for me, Mom, order the Thomas tapes. So if the first orders, in the order they came out, as I remember, or at least the order I saw them, was Rusty to the Rescue, then Thomas and the Special Letter. And Thomas and the Special Letter has the steamroller episode where there's George the Steamroller, and it's where Sir Handel gets those wheels with broad tires. And they call him a steamroller, and Peter Sam's like, oh, don't worry, don't worry, Sir Handel, your wheels are, the engines used to make fun of me when I got my special funnel until they saw how useful it is. And I was like, wait a second, like, what special funnel? Because that episode was not released on tape at the time, and I never watched any Season 4 content on PBS. I was not, the last Shining Time Station thing I saw was the Shining Time Station, like, hour-long, what they called a family special, where, like, someone who I guess is supposed to be the Queen of England comes to Shining Time. They don't say that what country she's from, just that she's a queen. And you do put a couple of Season 4 episodes of Thomas in there, one of them being, Special Attraction, which was an adaptation of two Railway Series books from Toby Trucks and Trouble that I guess they decided couldn't make for good 4-minute stories in their own right. Wow, we beat level 1! We took a half hour and we beat level 1. Oh yeah, Thomas Meets the Queen, which is the next tape that I got, which I think I got for Christmas 95? So I remember Christmas Day 95, and I'm wrapping it and seeing, like, no, Thomas Meets the Queen was on Thomas Meets the Queen was on a separate tape. Thomas Meets the Queen was a separate tape. And, what was it? No, Thomas and the Special Letter. And it's kind of funny, because you have... Hold on. Yeah, you have Thomas Meets the Queen, and Thomas and the Special Letter in the same season. And they were smart in making both of those episodes climax sort of episodes to their respective tapes. No, Thomas and the Special Letter... No, that was... I think Bowled Out was the last episode of Thomas and the Special Letter, if I remember correctly. And I really felt like, okay, it's season... I didn't think of Thomas in terms of seasons. I really thought of them more in terms of video releases. So it's like, okay, so a few years before that in Season 3, we have, you know, I didn't think it was Season 3 at this time. We have, you know, at Season 2, we have, the introduction of diesel engines, and the idea that diesels are taking over from steam. And then in Season 3, we have, you know, Escape with you know, Douglas saving Oliver and Toad from the scrapyard. And so that, and then in season, you know, the next series of episodes that comes out, we have this, well, with that episode, the sort of arc of Rusty being, Duncan being rude to Rusty because he's a diesel, and James being like, well, really, it's because of the episode Rusty to the Rescue. Yeah, Rusty to the Rescue. And the idea of the Bluebell Railway, and then you have the episode Bowled Out. It seemed like Thomas was, Bowled Out, where Duck and Stepney team up, or got die, as Reliant puts it. They have this thing. It seemed like Thomas was building towards there being this increasing steam versus diesel thing going on, and where as more and more tapes came out, there would be more and more engines being rescued from the scrapyard. Because I thought that within the next couple of tapes, that we were gonna get like the mountain railway, the mountain engine, like episodes about the mountain engines. And mind you, I have no idea the railways. I have no idea about the Mountain Engines book or anything. I just knew I had the Ertl models for them. So and then I see like the D199 Ertl models. So I'm like, okay, they're going to be even more large diesels introduced, and I thought because of Season 4, they're talking about like, we need another engine to run this special line, you know, because the Bluebell Railway was depicted as a branch line on Sodor on the TV show. Which is less realistic, but I could understand that why they made that change. So it's like, okay, so they got one steam engine for the Bluebell Railway, but they're going to need more engines. So I thought they're going to be episodes where maybe Stepney goes back to the scrapyard to rescue other engines that are also, on the scrap line. And they're going to be more like big diesels like D7101, or Bear as he became known in the Railway series. So I saw the Ertl models for D7101 and D199, neither of which ever appeared on the television series. And I was thinking that they'd be more big, large diesels, because I had no idea that D7101 was a good diesel character like Boko. So when I see D7101 and D199, the fact that neither of them have names on their Ertl models made them especially more sort of intimidating, like, oh, these big, nameless diesels that, you know, could compete with larger steam engines like Gordon or Henry. It's like, oh, there are more and more powerful diesels coming, and they're going to be saving more steam engines from scrap. And they kind of got into that a little bit with the unnamed diesel from Double Teething Troubles, which retroactively they named Derek, but they never even mentioned him by what his name was in the episode, which is pathetic and shows out what a useless character Derek was. And in Season 5, and then you had Thomas and Percy rescuing old Slow Coach, and that episode where, you know, Stepney gets lost, where you have the out of left field introduction of Bert and Ari, the two Class 08 diesel shunters that work in the ironworks and like scrapping steam engines, and Sir Topham had having to rescue Stepney a second time. But the thing, so they kind of got into that a little bit. If I were to write Season 4, like, I'd love to do that someday. I'd write my fantasy Season 5. Because in the gap between Season 4 and Season 5, I didn't think of them as seasons at the time. The gap between Season 4 and Season 5, at that time in my much younger point in my life, it was kind of by the time Season 5 came out, I thought of even the most recent episodes of Thomas as something I looked back on nostalgically. By Season 5, by the time that came out, I recognized that I was well out of the target age range for Thomas. And even back then, Thomas skewed up into, like, 2nd, 3rd grade age range. Even in 4th grade, I really didn't have to hide the fact that I still liked Thomas. I could still talk to kids about it, and some of them still watched it. But by the hit era, they really made Thomas a really preschool, 1st grade kind of thing, which is unfortunate. But alright. Alright. So we're having a good time here. How about... Yeah, I'm going to... I don't normally like doing this. How about... Yeah, we'll play... We'll cut it a little short. How about 10 more minutes of Tetris Attack? And then I'll take my break. Which will be a shorter break than usual. And we'll get into Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. Alright. And boom, there we go. Now we need to make these match 3s touch in the garbage blocks in order to clear them out. Now, garbage blocks being eliminated from the playfield as they transform into usable normal playfield blocks is one of the best opportunities to set up combos, because you can see what's happening, what those blocks are turning into, and set up the pieces beneath you on your playfield to, oh my gosh. Wait, actually, what is going on? I need to actually start and restart the timer. There we go. Yeah, so let's... Also, you know what I have not been paying attention to all stream? It's probably a good... You know what? This is the reason I've been playing so poorly compared to last time, even though I just went from easy to normal mode. That PW meter is a timer showing the time till the next garbage block attack. Yeah, I forgot that that's there and serves that purpose. Because, yeah, I forgot that that's there. Full stop, I just forgot it was there. Yeah, so now, this mode's actually going to be somewhat playable. I might be able to clear the stage and make decent progress before, we do our break and move on to Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. There we go. Now we have here an opportunity for... We're gonna shuffle these so we can make this combo. Almost. Yeah, we're just gonna scoot these over. Clear those blocks. Yeah, that stop wasn't especially... Yeah, when there are multiple layers of garbage blocks, I mean, it's more perilous, but I think clearing out the multiple layers of garbage blocks at once gives you more of a opportunity to figure out what you're going to do with the blocks beneath the playfield in relation to the blocks that are the X garbage block pieces that you now have something you can do with. So our... So if we... No, you've got to clear here. And if we attack... Yeah, really not a lot of things I could do at the moment. Yeah, I just ruined the stack I had going. Oh, come on. Give me a big fat break. Okay, there we go. That did not go the way I hoped, but we'll try again. Man, can I beat... Oh, excuse me, I'm not at level 3, 2, I'm at level 3. So it's a little less embarrassing. I thought it was... Wow, I got it. Look at that chain. That was... I wish I could say that that was intentional, but... Just got lucky there. Now, if... You'll use these diamonds. And clear those three. And... Man, you're dogging me out, game. But we can clear these Okay. That's not how I intended to clear those garbage blocks, but I'll take it. Boom. Match 5. We're gonna do a match 4. And as soon as... There we go. Just clear those. No, I can't do anything with that. I got excited for a second. I'm like, can I get a match 5? I'm a diagonal match 5. Something about diagonal match 5s are very satisfying, but I should have cleared those blocks the second I realized I couldn't do the diagonal match 5 with them, because now I'm flirting with disaster. There we go. Whew. Like legit finger cramps here. Okay. Let me just check on my frames, make sure I'm not... I don't know, I have this thing where it looks like I'm dropping frames when I do my test broadcasts, but then when I actually stream, it's fine. Which is not a problem I mind having. Alright, so we made it to 1, 2, 3. We made it to level 4. At least. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, here's the frog stage. Now... Okay, so this is interesting. They give us a big channel on the... Okay. Okay. That was one of the few times I could say very specifically, I did something that the creators of this... I don't know if these block layouts are predetermined, but I feel like they very specifically intended me to make that match 5 right there. And I recognized it quickly. Because I admit, most of my match 5... My diagonal... A lot of my chains... are unintentional. But that match 5, I recognized and set it up in a way that took a number of moves. There we go. That chain was intentional. So if I... Yeah, I admit that... Okay, let's... Yeah, we wait till the other garbage blocks fall, then we can clear them all at once. Yeah, most of the... Yeah, if something falls on... If a match falls from being cleared out of a garbage block, it will count as a form of a combo. It'll count it as though it's a chain, pretty much. At least that's what it seems to do. And one thing I really only recently noticed with Tetris in Mode A, Tetris on Game Boy, you get points for things other than clearing lines. You get points for moving the blocks and placing the blocks, and I'm like, what kind of scoring system is that? I always would have reasoned that the only scoring system that matters in Tetris would be clearing the lines. There we go. Yeah, I saw that opportunity to have the those 3 hearts clear out the garbage blocks. Now, I did not realize the enemies... Why am I tearing through the game all of a sudden when I... Froggy is no longer spellbound. Why am I tearing through the game all of a sudden? I didn't even... Like, I spent like a half hour on level 1, and now, once I beat level 1, the rest of the game's... Oh yeah, it's the fact that... I keep forgetting, I was not looking at the timer till they send over garbage blocks. Now that I'm looking at that, I can plan my moves a lot better. Alright, can we beat this guy in 2 minutes? Let's see. Come on. I know you want to do it. Boom. Boom, boom. There we go. Let the onslaught begin. The onslaught of my garbage blocks on it. Well, it's not like there's a secondary game of going on the side. I think there's just a timer. You decrease his HP, but with by making these combos, and the timer lets you know how long till he sends over more garbage blocks. There we go. There we go. That's one. Oh my gosh. Clear. Okay. I'm getting totaled. What is this cheese? I have no chance to play. Let me play the game. Come on, game. Come on. Let me play. Jeez. Yeah, you could look at, if you look on, hold on. I'm just gonna paste it in the chat. Yeah, the next, yeah, you can always look at my long-term schedule, right there. My next stream's gonna... Did I really not... I forgot to update the doggone, next stream command. Did I really? I had... Every other aspect of the stream was ready to go within an hour of my last stream a week ago. To the point where I just had to basically just open up Streamlabs and press go live. Do a literal 10-second long test video to make sure that my microphone was recording and the game audio was picking up on the stream and everything. And I just forgot to update that command for my next stream. Okay, so I'll have to look in my document here. Yeah, my next stream is going to be Saturday the 23rd, so I'm not streaming next week, but I'll be streaming the week after. Also at 6, I'm playing Pokemon Puzzle Challenge and Puzzle League for the Game Boy Advance, which I happen to have it right here. Yeah, Puzzle League for the Game Boy Advance, which was released as a double combo pack with Dr. Mario. If you can see that. So this when you actually open the game, it treats each release as though it's a completely separate game. Like, they could have released Puzzle League on one cartridge and Dr. Mario on the other. We are not even... I'll maybe very briefly, for a matter of moments, show Dr. Mario. It's not one of my favorite puzzle games. But I was always interested in this version of Puzzle League, because this is the only version of Puzzle League... Well, the first version of Puzzle League, and the only one... I haven't played this version yet, but... It is the only version of the game, well, the first version of this game, that has no theming or characters in it. It's kind of presented as a no-frills puzzle game, which is very interesting to me. So we'll see what the music and interface and what that game is kind of like. Now, will be back. This will be a shorter than usual break. Only 6 minutes. So I will, please, my Stream Deck is only working for, jumping to certain, so in the, lead up to this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch out, for Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. I'll switch that out right now. You have to hold the button on the system for a second for it to boot up, excuse me. Alright, so we will just drop that right here. And, I will be back. Well, thank you. Oh, yeah, a lot of this is, music from, well, it's either Game Gear music, got a few Toby Fox tracks from Undertale and Deltarune, I think, and the, music from a defunct public domain sort of music Creative Commons music collective thing called, 8-Bit Collective, that's no longer exists, so... Alright, so I'll be back in 6 minutes. Oh, no, actually, no. What I want to do first... Change. Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. I wish... You know what would be cool if Pokemon was like a category on Twitch? Because I would stream this under... If there's a general Pokemon category, that would be cool. That would kind of open the floodgates to... Oh, well, my game doesn't have a... The game I play doesn't have its own category, so that's, I can see why they don't do that. Alright, so I'll be back in 6 minutes with Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. everybody. Welcome back. Alright. Let's... Hey, the Pokemon Puzzle Challenge button actually worked on my Stream Deck. I don't know why some buttons work and some don't. Well, actually, I just uploaded Streamlabs desktop. That must be why. I'll have to look into it later. But we'll just drop this this puppy on the dock and get going. Alright, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture, everybody? Yeah. Hey, Sinful. Yeah, we're just playing Tetris Attack here. And I just realized I managed to set up... I used the wrong frame. I set this up with the wrong, what the filter I intended to use, hold on, where is, or the layout should have looked like this. It should have looked like this right here. Actually, if I just playing, this is gonna say the wrong game. Pokemon. Yeah, it's, yeah. No, because the thing is, before, that, the other, like, this layout was for, this is for a Game Boy game. For a Game Boy, that looks perfect. But for a Game Boy Color, I was just thinking too fast. So, what we're going to do, okay, we're gonna swap out, look at all that, okay, there we go. How about, put that there. It looks a little ugly with the camera sitting right there, so why don't I put the yeah, there's my little diecast Ertl, Thomas and Friends Mavis there. And it's funny because this Mavis, I bought this on eBay, and it actually appeared on Pete's stream. And it's like, oh, and you know, this old Thomas things are actually gonna be worth a lot of money. That one's not worth a lot of money. But okay, we need to do. I'm doing this in real time. We're gonna pants this one. We're gonna do it by the seat of our pants. We're gonna take out. We're gonna hide that one, and we're going to add in. I have to add this in real time. Text. I have the scroll for this already to go. Pokemon Puzzle. Yeah, it's the latest one I added. There we go. Now all I have to do, and this is asking a lot, because generally doing things like this in real time, well, doing this off stream does not go well. I just need to move that ticker down to the bottom of the screen. Yeah, I put the Yoshi amiibo there because I was playing Tetris Attack, which, unlike what the packaging has absolutely no indication that Tetris Attack is themed around the Yoshi's Island games. But when you play the game, it's like fully, like, it's a Yoshi's Island puzzle game, but they just didn't want to call it Yoshi's Island Puzzle. Which is weird, because Tetris Attack in general is just a Yoshi's Island themed reskin of Panel de Pon. But then they decided that was still too cutesy for the Western market. Oh, please, let me move my ticker. This is the simplest task, which should take a couple of okay. Oh, okay, it's highlighted. Now, if I click it... Now, I'm just glad... This is why just doing basic things takes hours. And it's really impacted my ability to be able to plan these streams and do them the way I'm doing, because I want to drag that ticker from the top of the screen down to the bottom, and that's going to take a minute, at best. It's already taken more than a minute. I'm not starting the timer. I refuse to start the timer until I drag that down there. No, it highlighted... It like, using moving layers, moving objects in Streamlabs desktop for me is like trying to trick the computer into doing something. It's like trying to trick... It's like trying to trick the devil into turning into a coin so that you could buy your last drink, and then putting the devil that transformed himself into a coin into like a little coin purse with a cross on it so they can't escape. Like, it's like trying to trick... It's like trying to trick the computer into doing this basic function. And all I want to do is drag... You know what? Forget it. Forget it. Alright. Alright, so we're gonna go... We're going to toss historical accuracy to the wind here. So I'm gonna go back to the... Okay, I'm gonna press the button on my Stream Deck 50 times. Okay. So all we have to do is turn off the... I have a green JPEG I set a transparency effect on. To simulate the green screen effect of the original Game Boy. I just have to find that in my sources and turn it off. There we go. So, yeah, this is not historically accurate, but, just want to tilt up my console cam a little bit there. Yeah, bye-bye, Mavis. I just want to turn down my PC speaker a bit. Now, hold on. My headphones. No, that's the headphones for the microphone. Headphones for the PC. There we go. Yeah, and this is a brand new gaming PC that I just got this year, and Streamlabs is giving me the runaround as to... You can't give me a solid answer on why it's running so poorly. I made sure it's the 64-bit version. But if the this game is significantly louder, so break in, more like end in, because we're not gonna play. Where's there we go. So we'll play for just an hour, and we'll close out the stream then. We'll start just like we started Tetris Tag. We'll start on the easiest mode. I didn't mean to choose Chikorita, but... Well, okay, we could... Okay, I like Cyndaquil. Well, actually, I like Quilava, but Cyndaquil is as close as we can get, so we'll take it. Man, the... Oh, this... Yeah, because I can't set up the proper layout for this the way I should, because... Wow, this is... This is like sensory bombardment after playing black and white Tetris Attack on the original Game Boy now, which makes it the fact that the layout looks like it's running on a Game Boy Color ridiculous. But this is the best solution I have, because unfortunately I cannot set up the... I don't know how I did not realize as I was making that layout that I'm like, hey, I'm making this layout for a Game Boy Color exclusive game as though it's a Game Boy game, and it's not going to work. Because if you insert this cartridge into a Game Boy, an OG Game Boy, any of the, if you put this cartridge in a Game Boy Pocket, you physically can't put it in a Game Boy because there's a cool lockout thing that prevents you from normally being able to insert and turn on a Game Boy Color exclusive game in a original model DMG 001 Game Boy. But if you put it in a Game Boy Pocket, it'll say this game is not compatible, you know, this game is only playable in Game Boy Color. Now, however, if you put this Game Boy Color exclusive game in a Game Boy Pocket and insert one of the most absurdly complex codes ever to appear in a Nintendo published game, there's a secret, which I will be covering in future streams. Ah. Yeah, I started the first half of the stream by, just playing, Tetris Attack at the easiest setting and just playing on marathon mode. I made it, like, 31 minutes and 30 seconds in marathon mode of Tetris. If I can't beat 31 minutes and 31 seconds on this, it either means this game is harder or I'm just not as good at it. I don't know. But yeah, this is really like my eyes, it's the strangest sensation because it's like my eyes are enjoying looking at all this color. And I'm someone who really I really advocate for, I like love black and white Game Boy games and I love playing them in black and white. I don't even like the pseudo color palettes you could put on when you play Game Boy games on Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. I just like playing them in straight black and white. I don't even like playing Link's Awakening. I never bought Link's Awakening on the 3DS Virtual Console, because on the 3DS Virtual Console, they never put the original version of Link's Awakening. They only put the DX version. So I kind of I really did ignore. I never played the colorized version of Link's Awakening, to me, because I played that game in the 90s on my original. I first played that on an original model DMG 001 black and white Game Boy. So to go and play a colorized version of that, it's like watching a colorized version of a classic film, where, when you watch a black and white films, it's not like they just filmed and just it's not like they just filmed it as they would a color film. The really great, films like The Third Man, Casablanca, Citizen Kane, they really understood, okay, this is only going to be seen in shades of gray, therefore we're going to build these sets and have the lighting and have the makeup on the actors specifically designed to... We're going to take the fact that we can only film this in black and white and make that part of what we're creating, instead of just treating it as a medium, like a limitation. We're going to make that part of what we're doing. We're going to embrace the fact that it's black and white and go with it. And to a certain extent, photography is like that too. Human beings, our body plan is evolved to have two eyes and see visually in stereoscopic 3D. Our two eyes are offset slightly, and we can perceive the height, width, and depth of objects in our environment. We don't think about that fact all the time, but that's if you have two functioning eyes and are able to, they're able to focus in the typical manner, you're seeing everyday life in 3D. Now, when we created photography, we it's kind of funny how we ended up creating photography as a camera is a cycloptic way of capturing the world. It has one lens, one point of view, one image, and we produce a single two-dimensional image off of that. Now, from very early on, there were experiments with 3D photography. From the dawn of photography well, not the dawn, but pretty early on. You see, in the 1920s, there's a very famous photograph of the LZ-127 passenger airship Graf Zeppelin flying over the Great Pyramid of Giza. And there's a very famous photograph of that. What a lot of people do not realize is that is actually a stereoscopic 3D photograph. There's been 3D photographs, and you could take two offset two-dimensional images and use that to create a simulated 3D image where if you place the photos properly and you have two functioning eyes that are able to focus properly, you can recreate the three-dimensional view on a two-dimensional, you recreate the 3D illusion on a 2D surface, which is something that I experimented with using a single single lens reflex camera when I was taking photography classes in college. It wasn't part of the assignment, but it was something I was interested in, and that got me not extra credit, not extra points, but it's like something the professor was interested in and pointed out to the other students when we were all showing off each other's photographs. Why am I going on a rant about 3D versus 2D photography? How did I even get into that? I don't even know what I was gonna say. But I said it. And we're almost 1/3 of the way through our quest for 30 minutes. And okay, I keep forgetting I can pause. Oh, that's right. This game has a save feature. Which is not. I never really took note of that because my main experience with playing this game is on the 3DS Virtual Console, where the game if you quit out of the game, when you go back in, it just picks up from where you left off anyway, and you have save states on top of that. So I never really had to use the in-game vanilla save function. Alright, so we're gonna do something with these hearts right here. Yeah, whether I last for... I'm gonna play this... If I last 30 minutes, I will stop after 30 minutes. I will stop at 30 minutes in. Because I do want to start... At least take a cursory dive into the sort of story mode. Which, if I remember correctly... It uses the interface very similar to Tetris Attack, both on Super Nintendo and on Game Boy, which is what we were playing earlier in this stream. But it's done with the main player character, Pokemon Gold and Silver, and instead of freeing Yoshi's friends from Bowser's evil magic, you're actually doing a sort of a very loose recreation of the plot of Pokemon Gold and Silver, which were the current Pokemon games out. Okay. I love a chance to do. No, don't get fancy. Just go ahead. Make that diagonal 5 combo. And keep on moving. Because I was looking, I'm like, ooh, I could set off a chain here. But no, I'm just getting overly ambitious. Got that, vertical column 6 combo there. Oh, this is gonna be this. Yes, and boom, chain, and oh, if I was able to move those couple of hearts over, I could have made that a ×3. Oh yeah, you know what's cool? The last game didn't have this. Tetris Attack on Game Boy did not have the timer. Or did it? I don't think the Tetris Attack on Game Boy actually showed you on screen how much time was left when you made a combo or chain and were able to freeze the clock. It didn't say how many seconds you had left. So that's a cool addition to this version. I'm starting to feel the pressure here, but it's like I always have just enjoyed with puzzle-y games just starting on the easiest mode of all and letting the game just gradually just ratchet me up, like the sort of maxim of the frog in the pot of water, and you just gradually increase the temperature, and the frog doesn't realize that he's boiling alive. Which is not true, by the way. That like as soon as the water is unacceptably hot, they immediately just jump out. It's not like... I know it's just sort of a parable or an allegory. Well, not an allegory, just sort of I guess a maxim, I guess, would be the right term for that. Telling a story to make a point about something else, but... Well, I don't know, it's funny. There's maxim, parable, allegory, all mean such similar things. But have very distinct, 7 combo. Now this, they just set up for me. Got a 4 combo there. Boom. No. I needed to move the cursor one over and do that one. And you know, if I could make Nintendo do anything in the world, if I could like get them to do something, I would love for them to make just, you know what they did with Tetris DS and the Nintendo DS? An error occurred with the output. Am I still live? Hold on. No. Okay, there we go. Am I still live? An error occurred with the output. It says I'm still live. Okay, we're good. That's good for a second. Yeah, Streamlabs gave me a weird... Streamlabs desktop gave me a weird error. Why do I let this thing update? Why do I think, hey, maybe it'll solve the issues I'm having where it takes me hours to do things that should take seconds? No, it's just going to just give me more weird problems. But it's letting me stream. I'm having good, no dropped frames or anything like that, so that's what really matters. So that you're not watching a flipbook of me playing this game. It doesn't seem like I'm having any mic issues. We're almost halfway there, because I'm trying to make it to 30 minutes. And once again, fantastic music in this game. You know, I need to get the soundtrack to this game and put it in my rotation for my hold music on my my start and end screen and on my break screen. Because this whole soundtrack I love a lot. Great remixes of the tracks from Pokemon Gold and Silver. And boom. 4, 3, 2, 1. No, that's not... I could have... Okay, I have another chance to clear out those diamonds. So we drop here, and here, and clear out. Ah, now. Yes. No, I had a cool chain set up, but that block that scrolled up from the bottom of the playfield, like, cleared that one spot and ruined it. I had a really cool chain setup right there, too. I was gonna... If that did not happen, that chain would have been the most satisfying chain that I'd set off during this... Since I first started streaming this series a week ago. Oh, you're giving us lots of hearts here. We can, yes we can get there, we'll set that chain off. Yeah, this, I don't know, like the panic music in Tetris Attack never really got me that panicky. This is like, oh shoot, like I really feel the tension. And chain and combo. I saw that one, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good one. Okay. We're 15 minutes in. We are officially at the halfway mark. And chain. And oh no, I couldn't set it up. Well, there was something to set up, but I was like, "Ooh, I see some circles. I could set that up real quick," but not quite. That was pure luck right there, and I don't mind one bit. I want to put that there, this here, and boom! And boom! Okay. Yes, I have to say boom every time I get a combo or a chain. Or every time I see one coming up. I'm gonna try to announce my... I try to announce my chains before I set them off, and combos before I set them off, because honestly, this game does give you a lot of accidental chains and combos. So when I do one deliberately, I mean, I could say nothing, or I could just say things and pretend that, like, yeah, I intended to do that, but a lot of times you do just get lucky in this game. When I was first playing this back as Pokemon Puzzle League back in 2000, 5 chain, and, yep, there we go. Yeah, I'll just say chain, because I don't have time to announce both chains that I'm about to... both combos I'm about to get in those few seconds. Boy. Okay, so... yeah, this, I got a new cable from Best Buy, a new USB cable for my Switch Pro controller, which is what I'm using to play this with. And it's only... maybe 6 inches longer than the USB cable I already had, because the next USB-C cable that they offered that was longer than this was like dramatically longer and significantly more expensive, and I just didn't want to pay that much. And I was like, well, I don't exactly know how long the other cord is. I know this cable isn't that long. Hopefully, it's long enough that for my needs, and it turns out it actually is. But I really would not have called. I would not have... when I plugged the Switch Pro controller, because I was in a pinch where my 8-bit-do controller stopped working, and I haven't looked into what it takes to fix it yet. You have to open it up and mess with the directional controls and some nonsense. I'm not... the most moddy type stuff I do is changing out the batteries on battery save games, which apparently is considered... apparently is enough to make me, to some people, I guess, look like a hardcore, techie, modder type person and not just changing a battery. But I never opened a controller and, like, repaired a switch or button or anything like that before. And I never really knew... I only ever heard good things about 8-bit-do gamepads before this, but apparently... there's a very specific reputation for the D-pads sticking and registering false inputs. And it turned... so I was like, okay, all of a sudden I have no controller to use this with, because the 8-bit-do Super Nintendo style pad is the only controller I ever used for playing the Analog Pocket with the dock. So I was like, oh shoot, I'm in trouble. So I just, okay, the Switch Pro controller's within arm's reach, and I already played the 8-bit-do gamepad using USB-C because it's more consistent than... well, I use the USB-C to sync it, not to actually play games with it, because for some reason, when you plug in the cable, I can't bring up the analog, like, console menu for changing system settings and stuff. But I can't... but I can only do that when I'm using the Bluetooth wireless mode. So I would plug the controller in with USB, which syncs it. Then when I unplug it, it just automatically connects wirelessly. It's kind of odd, and it's not really how the instructions for either the controller or the analog dock seem to describe how it was intended to work, but it works, so I just went with that. So it's like, okay, the stream's like 10-15 minutes in. I'm having, Bovine Divine is giving me tips on, what to do, how to fix this gamepad, but it's not something I could do on the spur of the moment on stream. Like, I don't have another controller for this. And it's like, well, there's a Switch Pro controller, and I know that uses USB-C. Let me plug it in and see what happens. Instantly works. I'm like, Nintendo, like, that's so unlike you, just making a controller that works with other devices. Okay. Oh no. Okay. I had a better combo for those purple diamonds set up, but another block came in from the bottom of the playfield and ruined it. I only have to survive 10 more minutes. No. Not. Bam! Chain. Yeah. Nice. Okay. And I have to make it 10 more minutes. If we do make it to 10 minutes, I'm just gonna end the game at that point. Actually, I don't know. I forgot. I can save and quit. So I could try again later. Yeah, I could save mid session in this game. I forgot about that. That's gonna be nice. Okay, this is boom. Yeah, I saw that one coming. $21. Okay. Boom, boom, and chain. And no, didn't have time to do anything with those hearts. There's nothing accessible with those hearts anyway. Okay. You gotta give me... Where's the stuff? Where's stuff I could... Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. Oh my gosh, I'm tearing it up. Okay. Wow, that looks really grim for a second, but we got things back under control. I wonder if there are any puzzle games. How many puzzle games are there that, like, the theme of the puzzle game is that you're processing data? Because this is kind of a cool... Oh no. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 7 minutes away from making a half hour in marathon mode. Wow. Wow, we even got a 9. 14,336. That's our score to beat for marathon mode in this version of the game, at least. Oh wow, they even brought up the copyright screen on. All right, let's get into some of the study play techniques. That's, you know what? When we have 10 minutes left in the stream, we'll go into training and check that out. But let's... And records? Records for Brittany. So this cartridge used to belong to someone named Brittany. I'm imagining... Yeah. It doesn't seem like they... You know, no, when I first got... I have a screenshot somewhere of how much time there was on this, and it's like, yeah, I'm guessing a little girl named Brittany got this and only played it for like an hour or two. But thank you, Brittany, for taking care of, or just completely ignoring, your copy of Pokemon Puzzle Challenge and taking care of it to the point where it somehow or another ended up on eBay. Was Brittany herself the original question mark sign on? I don't know what that means. Semi-sign on? I don't know what these mean. I never looked at this. Oh wow, you can just look at... Oh, you could... I never saw this before. Oh my gosh, it's Dragonair. That's so cool. Dragonair. Aw. Jinx. That's all the Pokemon in this game. No Quilava, but we have Dragonair! Aw, that's so nice. Dragonair's one of my faves. Gallery. Oh, I don't want to spoil all the cool artwork. Alright, let's play. You have control... Wow, you even have control options. That's interesting. Training, yeah, we'll mess with that later. One player. You have line clean, clear the garbage as... Clear the garbage as... It falls. Time zone. Try to get a high score. Oh, they have a lot of cool modes in this one that were not in Tetris Attack. They really could have just... Yeah, alright. So how about challenge? Battle gym leaders. Continue a game. What were they up to? Let's start a fresh game. New game. Erase the old game, yes. I'll start with easy. Elm Labs, Professor Elm. I've been waiting for you. How's the challenge going? The more people you take on, the more fun you'll have. Up ahead, you'll battle the infamous gym leaders. Infamous gym leaders? Are they criminals? Like, geez. It shouldn't be the famous gym leaders. If we're fighting Team Rocket, like, you're gonna battle the infamous Team Rocket. They're expecting you. Good luck. Now, I see I have the map of the Johto region down there. That's cool. Violet Jim Falconer. I've been waiting for you. Well, let's get going. Alright. I hope I can... I hope I can get Dragonair. As a playable character. Not that the replayable character means much, but just having a little Dragonair in the corner, that would be so dope. Yeah, you know, it's funny. When I play this game, I don't think I ever played through the actual, I guess, story mode. More comfy music, of course, but I don't think I ever played through the actual story mode of this game when I had it on 3DS Virtual Console. Which is kind of odd. Yeah, it shows how their HP is decreasing. Okay. Okay, that's not what I intended to do. I saw something a little more ambitious, but I just failed to properly act on it, so that didn't happen. Uh-oh. Getting aggressive there, Pidgey. Okay. So how about we drop this over here? Come on. And boom. There we... Oh, I didn't even realize how close I was to... Well, this is easy mode. Oh, look at Cyndaquil being a little, look at him showing off there. Man, all the music and sound in this, I like tremendous... It's such a huge improvement over Tetris Attack. But, I mean, the original compositions these were based on were... I know, the Yoshi's Island music is good, too. It's just... These are better remixes of the Pokemon Gold and Silver soundtrack than Tetris Attack were of the Yoshi's Island soundtrack. Now, to be fair, because of the types of games they are, Yoshi's Island has far fewer tracks in its library just to choose from. Azalea Gym, Bugsy. Welcome to Azalea Gym. Enough talk. On to battle. Let's go with Chikorita this time. Aw, they're so happy. And we can drop this down here, move this over here, and 5's chain. No, 5 combo. Oh, great, okay. Boom, 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 and boom. Now, if we move these hearts over... Okay, I was betting on that happening. Yeah, we just... Yeah, the regular block clears do not decrease their hit points at all. Oh no, that would have been perfect, but that... Yeah, shucks. Okay, we cleared it out quickly anyway. Now, if we move this one over... Oh man, I didn't even get to use those attack blocks with the exclamation marks on them. Yeah, we're definitely clearing easy mode this stream. You're good. I guess I have more to learn. Okay, Goldenrod, Jim Whitney. I wonder what her signature Pokemon's gonna be. Man, when I was, you know, younger, less savvy on how to play the game strategically, Whitney's Miltank was an absolute nightmare, especially the first time I was playing it. Because the first time I was playing Pokemon Gold and Silver was in Japanese, because I could not wait, so my dear aunt arranged for imported copies of Gold and Silver to be shipped to me. Thank you, my dear aunt. The same aunt who gave me my my first DMG 001 Game Boy back in '95 with more than a dozen games for it. Which was I knew of Nintendo. I played it at family members' houses, but family tend to live very far away from where I was at, whereas all my local friends tend to have Genesis. So it was something that they definitely really was my proper introduction to Nintendo. It was so I was a Sega loyalist, and a Sega, but I didn't bash Nintendo. And when I finally I was looking forward to getting that game because I knew it was a cross-country plane flight to visit my aunt, and she had the Game Boy and all the games ready for me. And I knew I'd be getting them when I got there. And I was so interested to see just a different take on what video games could be like. It's the first time I played a game, really sat down and spent time and learned these are what Mario games were like. This is, what all these different famous games I'd heard about and saw commercials for, but never played myself. Oh, this is what Kirby is like. You know, that weird pink puffball that I saw those commercials for on WPIX when they were airing the first two Peanuts theatrical releases during Thanksgiving '93. It's like, oh, I get to see what Kirby games are like, what Mario games are like. Now, with Mario, it's kind of fun. I had a similar experience with both Mario and Kirby. Mario and Sonic, in the sense that I learned to appreciate and love Mario and Sonic as characters and as games based entirely on their handheld. Like, I learned to be familiar with Mario and with Sonic through their handheld games, which are kind of these side games that really didn't stick super closely to a lot of the rules and conventions of the console games of their respective eras. So I kind of learned to love Mario and Sonic in ways that are different than the way that most people relate to who played Mario and Sonic at that time period related to those games. Oh, you used your Clefairy, but you really should have used your Miltank. I'm sure that Miltank would have rolled me out to death if you had sent them out into battle instead of the Clefairy. Just want to do another check on my current standing in terms of if I'm dropping frames. No, I am not. It's all good. I need to stop being paranoid. Huh. You're not gonna throw a hissy fit and make me have one of your interns convince you to give me the badge? This will be a good match. Uh-oh, Kalaka Boy. You redeemed the Sodor lore reading. I love Ghastly. Ghastly's one of my faves. I love their big tongue. Okay, so we're just going to manually switch over to the redemption layout. So, the Arlesdale Railway Company was formed as a separate concern to buy up the 10 miles or so of Mid-Sodor Railway trackbed, together with the remaining stations and buildings, and lay a new railway thereon, while the Ballast Company acquired not only the lead mines, but also a granite quarry at Murthwaite, which had just come on the market, and finally called itself Arledale Granite and Ballast Company Limited. It was decided that the railway must not only be capable of handling loads of ballast, but it should also be of a character sufficiently out of the ordinary to attract visitors to the railway, and thus bring benefit to hotels and guest houses in the area. The remarkable revival of the Ravenglass and Eskdale Railway in Cumbria, England, had impressed the railway board, and the thin clergyman was able to put the chairman, Lord Harry Barron, into touch with the Ravendale and Eskdale Railway management. A close association then began, which has continued to this day, greatly to the benefit of both railways. It was the Ravenglass Company who told the consortium, in strict confidence, where 3 locomotives, Bert, Rex, and Mike, were to be obtained, together with a number of open and semi-open passenger coaches. These, it was considered, could serve until the railway could buy or build more up-to-date stock of their own. The Ravenglass and Eskdale Railway had abandoned their former ballast and roadstone business, but they allowed the consortium to search their records for designs of bogie hopper wagons, along with a chute gantry for unloading them quickly with the minimum of effort. Alright, so that is a little more lore from the world of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. Thank you, Clackaboy, for redeeming your premium tokens. Now, the Ravenglass and Eskdale Railway in Cumbria is a place I do want to go someday. There are 2 minimum gauge 15-inch railways in the UK that I want to go to and spend a lot of time on, those being the Romney, Hythe, and Dymchurch Railway, which is more in the south of England, and I believe Cumbria is out in the west. In fact, in the area that not far from the area that the Ravenglass and Eskdale Railway is, I believe if the island of Sodor actually existed, you'd be able to see it from the coast near there. Which is kind of an interesting thing to think about. But, because the island of Sodor and the source material is sort of situated in the British Isles between the British mainland and the Isle of Man. And the idea for the island of Sodor sort of came about because, well, Reverend Audrey was, obviously a clergyman of the Anglican Church. And he came to realize that the Diocese of the Isle of Man was called the Diocese of Sodor and Man. And Sodor being some kind of obsolete geographical expression that pertained to the region that was no longer in use. So out of that context, it was kind of puzzling that there was the Diocese of the Isle of Man was called the Diocese of Sodor and Man, and there was obviously an Isle of Man, but no Isle of Sodor. So he sort of developed the concept of the island of Sodor from there. So anyway, point being, thank you. I will actually finish the battle with those attack blocks right there. Okay, so we have... Wow, exact... Oh, wow, yeah, so we have 7 more minutes of story mode here. Well, 7 minutes, and after those 7 minutes, we'll play through the whatever stage we're on at that time. There are only 8 gym leaders, so I'm guessing we're gonna fight the 8 gym leaders, the Elite Four. Are we gonna fight Red the champion? Or no, the champion is gonna be Lance. And then I guess we fight Red as the final boss. Hello. Shall we start? Let's go with Pikachu. I mean, no, we used Pikachu last time. We'll use Pichu. This would be a horrible type matchup in an actual Pokemon battle, but this is a puzzle battle. And it's funny because, like, they don't really do it here, but in Pokemon Puzzle League for Nintendo 64, they actually imply that these are puzzle Pokemon battles. That this is an actual... That what we're seeing is an actual representation of something that's somehow being done between the trainers and their Pokemon. Really, it's saying that they like this remix of Violet City. Oh, like this soundtrack is so much better than the Tetris Attack soundtrack. And Yoshi's Island for Super Nintendo has a good, very great soundtrack, but I don't know, like the level of composition here is just a lot better. Due to this being an RPG as opposed to a platformer, an RPG is just going to have a lot more themes to work with to do these remixes of. But yeah, this is... I never actually played it in this manner, but this would have been one of those real sitting in the back seat of my parents' car, you know, with my Game Boy Color and a worm light. Actually, no, my family back then, we had this huge Lincoln Continental that felt like you were driving, like riding in a boat. I mean, it was this huge Lincoln Continental with a doggone 8-track player in it. And the reason I love this car so much is because, you know, the back seat of cars often had, of course you had before, had a lights in them that you could activate and in the back seat, but they would often be really bright, and you know, my parents would say, like, you know, you have to turn that off because I want to play Game Boy or read in the back seat of the car at night. And I'd be like, hey, you have to turn that off because, you know, it's too bright and it's distracting the driver, it's not safe. But the Continental had these perfect lights in them where you could turn them on and there was more than enough light to read by or play Game Boy by, for if you're playing Game Boy Color or Game Boy, OG Game Boy. But it wasn't so bright that it distracted the person driving. So that was the dream car. I remember so many times sitting in the backseat playing Pokemon Gold and Silver and Link's Awakening on the original Game Boy in the backseat of this of the Continental. Man, I honestly do not mean to mash through his flavor text, but let's be honest. I mean, it's more flavor text than we got from the Yoshi characters in Tetris Attack in that game's story mode. Boom. Okay, no. We are going to use the blue triangles there to yeah, I was looking around shopping for potential cool combos that could be made. Boom, there we go. I saw that one, I'm like, ooh, I could set up those yellow blocks to clear out automatically. But oh. And I could do a cool combo. If I had, I don't know, I could have been more ambitious. I saw there were opportunities where I could have set something up, but it's like I just wanted these out the way so I could get more important stuff. It was, I don't know, any attack, no attack is wasted really in this game. Win. I'm gonna win with that one. Yep. Perfect. Alright. This next match might be our last of story mode for this session. Huh? I lost? Back to training 24/7. This is Pierce. Prepare to taste defeat. I shall prove my skill. Go back to Cyndaquil. Oh yeah, I forgot about Price. I confused Price with Morty. I'm like, I don't remember the Ghost type gym leader being an old man. Yeah, I forgot this gym leader was in the game. But then again, I have not played through Pokemon Gold and Silver in 15-ish years, or maybe 10, maybe as recently as just, yeah. Man, I have nostalgic memories of playing Pokemon Gold and Silver in like 2005-ish, which is extremely. I mean, 2000. Only 5 years after the game came out, but even in 2005, I was playing, when I played Pokemon Gold and Silver, I was doing so with nostalgic feelings. And now looking back, I'm like, yeah, that's actual first-hand nostalgia. It was a time when I was playing Pokemon Gold and Silver on the Game Boy player of the GameCube, and it was definitely before the Wii came out. So it was 2005, or summer 2000, I doubt it was, no, it wasn't that summer. It's 2005 for sure. And because around 2005 was when I was kind of did my first ever, and really only to this day, replay through of the 8-bit Pokemon games. And I was playing through Pokemon Gold, or yeah, it was definitely Pokemon Gold specifically. Are we going to get the most ironic ending where I have no matches? No, well, how did I miss that for that long? Excuse me, that's a beat timer to remind me. Oh, we won. Yeah, it was a timer to remind me that at 10 minutes to the end of the stream, I wanted to maybe save and quit out of here. No, but it was a hot day, and the house I lived in then didn't have air conditioning because it was on, Long Island. It's kind of temperate. It was freezing more often than it was sweltering hot, and it was early 70s house, so no central air conditioning. And we didn't even, I remember in 2006 or 7 we got, window unit air conditioning for a couple of rooms. It was kind of a revolution in the way we managed ourselves and kept cool during the summer. Yes. Quite impressive. Never lose your focus. Thanks for the tips, dude. So I'm going to... Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to... Okay, we have to actually... Oh, Dragonair! Okay, we'll, yeah, we don't have to beat up... I like how they decided to have a footprint, like, motif for this dragon stage, but the dragon that you're battling against is Dragonair, who is a Pokemon that does not leave behind footprints. I've never seen this before. Turn the power off to save. Continue when you turn it back on. I'm going to try... So if I have to bring up the analog... Okay, so... Quit game. So, play cartridge. So this is... So... Yeah, okay. Okay, that's... I've never seen a Game Boy or Game Boy Color game or a Game Boy Advance game that saves like that. Where you turn... You hit save, it gives you a screen cueing you to shut the power off on the system, and then when you turn the power back on, it gives you the title screen, then jumps back into the mode you're in. I've never seen or heard of that before. But we're going to training, study play techniques, demos, combos, chain. Okay, so now I have more technical terms. Because I know combo chain. Active chain. I don't think they even use that term in Pokemon Puzzle League on N64. And some of the modes on here, I mean, if Nintendo, I think the Nintendo Switch Online's offering of classic games is a joke. I think the upgrade price for Nintendo 64 access to those classic games is a joke right now. If you come out with Mischief Makers, instant upgrade. I'll instantly upgrade for that. If you come out with Pokemon Puzzle League, I will instantly upgrade for that. Just saying. I know you're watching, Nintendo. I know you're one of the 4 people watching me right now. But let's see, 4 combos. A button demo? Yeah, they have a mode kind of like this in Pokemon Puzzle League, and it's actually hosted by Tracy Sketchit. You know what I just thought of? Okay, this is gonna date me a bit. I just thought of someone's Pokemon fan character called Ellie Sketchit. This is going back to like 99 or 2000. It was a Pokemon fan character called Ellie Sketchit. And Ellie Sketchit was an Espeon Pokemorph, which, if you're not familiar, is basically a Pokemon furry. Yeah, it was a Espeon. It was an Anthro Espeon that was married to Tracy Sketchit from the Orange League era of the Pokemon anime. I wonder if that person's still around. I wonder if the person who created that character and drew the art and fanfics of them. And this is all like PG rated. This is nothing scandalous, you know. This is nothing, you know. I wouldn't, but it's just something that's like, man, it's really freaky. Thinking about something that was in your brain. And you're actively aware. I have not thought about that in more than 20 years. And it's a hard thing to do on purpose. It's interesting. This is really simple. Watching them do these things. 5. So if I press start, I can actually do it myself. That's cool. I don't know if... Oh, good. Photosensitivity warning? I think this demo mode might be a bit more sophisticated than the teaching mode in Pokemon Puzzle League. Man, that flashing light, that flashing colors there, that would not fly in a modern, like, Nintendo. Like, I wonder if the ROM of this game for Nintendo Switch, for the 3DS Virtual Console, I wonder if they toned that down, because that's pretty severe. Because I'm not photosensitive, and that's kind of intense. To the point where I'm not going to do those demo things anymore on screen for safety reasons. Not that I have many people, with the limited number of people watching, the odds of someone who's maybe at risk from sort of flashing images like that is rather low, but still. It's a little over the top. And you know what? It's especially over the top in the context that, you know, like 5 years before this, 98, like 3 or not even 4 years before this was the Electric Soldier Porygon incident, which is really what brought awareness of photosensitivity and product safety to the forefront in video games and in television. Alright, let's look at this. You know, I really never really... I don't think to look out for these kind of combos that often. So that's actually made me aware of something I was not previously aware of. I never really thought about looking out for these kind of combos. Yeah. I don't think that comes up that often, but still. Yeah, we're getting into more advanced combos. There's certain 6 combos I've thought of before. Like these kind of 6 combos. I thought of that, but now it's starting to show me things I genuinely never really thought much of. Oh, this is a cool one. Man, these are getting more and more complex. I mean, and rightfully so. Others. Let's... Didn't they show this one in another form? 14. Oh, no, they didn't. Those I've done. Those I know I've pulled off. Oh, this is a cool... That's a 1 in a million right there. That's a... Yeah, right. That's never gonna happen right there. Unless they... I wonder if the puzzle mode... Is the... Hold on. Training. Start. Press start. Wasn't there... One player... Oh, the... Okay, no, that's what those combos are used for. They included the puzzle mode in here. We're gonna... Next time, we're gonna mess around with the puzzle mode. The puzzle mode will be very interesting to experience. Huh. Yeah, puzzle mode, where you have a certain number of moves to clear the field, or complete a particular goal. But let's go back... I want to go back into... No, I want to go into... I want to see... Actually, let's see what demos are. Because we don't have a lot of time left. Let's do see... Whew. Oh, I want to... I'm just looking at this. I just see all this potential right here. Okay. Oh, that was beautiful. We have to see that one more time. That was art. That was art right there. That is just poetry in motion right there. Man. Alright. So, that'll be it for this stream. I'll be back on Saturday the 23rd at 6 p.m. with starting off with Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, moving on to Puzzle League for the Game Boy Advance, which is the only... one of the only games in the Puzzle League or Panel de Pon series that has no kind of real theming or tie-ins with other Nintendo games or anything. It's just Puzzle League presented as sort of a no-frills, no-embellishments puzzle game, which is going to be interesting to see. Now, the box art's a little deceptive because that game was... I made a fake box art for it, of just the Puzzle League part, because that's the only part we're really going to be spending time with. I didn't want to give a false impression that, oh, we're going to be playing the Dr. Mario part too, because that game was made as a 2-pack with, yeah, it was made as a 2-pack where it was packaged in with Dr. Mario. And I will show a little tiny bit of the Dr. Mario part, because it is a version of Dr. Mario it's a 32-bit Game Boy Advance Dr. Mario, but it is very specifically themed around or inspired by Dr. Mario 64. So I'm going to send you over to Bovine Divine, who hasn't streamed in a while, as far as I'm aware. And he's a great streamer, and he's showed up in chat a couple of times. So I will see you around next time, and thank you very much for watching.